It's a recurring theme in the Bible. 2 Timothy 4:9, do your best. 2 Timothy 2:15, do your best to present yourself to God. 2 Timothy 4:21, do your best to come before winter. That would be a good thing. Titus 3:12, you love this one, do your best to meet me in Nicopolis. It's in western Greece. And some say, that's where I'd like to go. Well, those who were here yesterday for that and watched the A21 presentation, you know, females, that's where the greatest focus of female slavery is in the world. So you probably don't want to go there, but Paul wanted Titus to meet him there. Titus 3:13, do your best to help Zenas, the lawyer, and Apollos, and see that they have everything they need. Do your best. Do your best. No more blemished lambs. Now, I just need to say, as you know, as a church, we strive for excellence in our ministries, and we do have people in training a lot of the time. We want to raise up the next generation all the time, going out after the next generation. Because if we don't, sooner or later, the current generation will get old and pass away, and we know what to do. So we want to pass it on to the next generation. And doing that, see, if you go to Coles and you go through the checkout, they'll have checkout chicks there, and sometimes they wear a badge, say, in training. So what they mean by that, show them a bit more grace, you know. And so when we got people in training, don't you go rousing on them. Don't you do that. And see, because if they're in training, the department in which they are serving, that leader will look out and to train them and correct them. But don't you do it, just show them grace. So anyway, let's tease out this whole idea of excellence, how to do our best and ministering with excellence. I want to give you a whole lot of ideas this morning. Number one, in church life, listen for it, less is more. In church life, I think this is a business principle. I think this is a principle for your life also, but I'm talking about church ministry. When it comes to gifts, Paul in 1 Corinthians 12 spells out a whole lot of gifts and says, in effect, some folks seem to want to show off with the more spectacular gifts. That's the ones they want. Now, here's what I want to say. You need to figure out what your top gifts are, right, and use them to support, that's what Paul says, the preaching of the word in love. Now, all of you will have, when you gave your life to Christ, when you surrendered to Christ, He gave you at least one gift, one spiritual gift, at least one. You've got more than that. And we do a course in this church called SHAPE course. S-H-A-P-E is an acronym. S, spiritual gifts, H, heart, A, abilities, P, personality, experiences. And from that we can discern what your top 3 or 4 gifts are. And those who've recently done that course, you need to send them back to me soon so we can help you put them into practice. Think about a disgruntled Martha, you know the story of Mary and Martha, and Jesus made it very clear to a very disgruntled, fussing and fuming Martha, a busy, overactive Martha, that less is more. All of her fussing and overactivity, you know, some people I see, they're just overactive. When we talked about margin in your life, you will not have peace and serenity in your life without margin. You just won't. And here's Martha. She's in the kitchen. She's getting all busy. She's trying to do everything by herself, and she can't understand why no one else is doing this, that they actually want to worship God. Think you've got to be doing stuff all the time. And so she's out in the kitchen. She comes out of the kitchen. She's grumbling to Jesus about the lack of help from Mary, her sister, because Mary was actually worshipping God through Christ. So would you tell that lazy slacker to come out and help me in the kitchen? And here's how it goes. Luke 10, verses 40-42. Lord, tell her to help me, Martha said. Martha, Martha. Whenever the parent or the Lord talks to you like that, George, Steve, I say there's got a lot of Steves here. Amanda, a lot of them as well. So, you know, when it's doubled up like that, Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things. Many things? Less is more. About many things. But few things are needed. Less is more. Or indeed only one. And Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Less is more. God spoke to the leadership of this church way back and told us that less is more. He said quite clearly. And we use the words of Speaker and Pastor Craig Rochelle, have a laser focus. Have a laser focus. Focus on the core ministries that God has given us. The energies and the resources of the church will be invested in the core ministries. Less is more. Now, we will have ancillary and support ministries. They will come and go. The core ministries will stay forever. The other ones will come and go, and people will rise up and want to do other activities and so on. The leadership and the energies and the resources and the focus of this church will always be given to the core ministries. That's how it is. So here are 4 of them. That's it. Corporate worship. Corporate worship. Children's ministries. Youth ministries. You know, I thought when we did children, maybe the children's pastor left the building. No, she's still there. Children's ministries. Come on, you children's workers. Youth ministries. Come on, you youth people. Connect groups. Someone believes in that one. And from time to time, people are going to rise up and they're going to want me to just start a school, start a sports ministry, start this, start that, start the other thing. But our focus and our energy and our resources are going into those 4. That's it. Corporate worship, children's, youth, connect groups. That's it. And we do that for a number of reasons. See, there are 3 reasons. 1, because God said so. Will that do it? Yeah. And just in case you didn't get that, I'm going to give it go. 2, to protect you from burnout. Yes. Otherwise, we get all these things, and from doing things that would sidetrack us and the church from the core ministries that God has given us. And 3, to enable us to do our ministries with excellence. That's why. So how to minister with excellence? Firstly, less is more. Secondly, focus. Pay attention. Nehemiah 6:3. Nehemiah and his team are rebuilding the wall around Jerusalem, and people are trying to sidetrack them the whole time, get them to do other things. They have all these other little ministries and missions they might want to do. And Nehemiah's just focused. He's a focused man. He just wants to build that wall. See, he's called by God to build the wall. That's it. I am called by God to head up a team to build this church. And I do get lots of it. Let's start the school. When we had another, we sold off 4 acres up the back, put that little thing to rest. You know, let's start a school, start an old a retirement village. Other people are doing that because they're called to. We're not. But I have to stay focused on what God has called us and me to do. And so a guy by the name of Sanballat in Nehemiah's day, he had an idea he wanted to share with Nehemiah, and so he invited him to come out and chat about the idea. And here's Nehemiah's response, Nehemiah 6:3. He said, I sent messengers with this reply. I am carrying on a great project and cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it to go down to you? So I want to stay focused. If you are called to children's ministry, stay focused. Give it your best shot. If you are called to youth ministry, stay focused. Give it your best shot. If you're called to service coordinating, if you're called to sound, thank God for sound, man. If you are called to the computer, whatever it is, when you are on duty, stay focused on that. You haven't got time to chit-chat, all the idle chatter and gossip of someone else. I can't do it today, man. I'll talk to you next week. But today I'm focused on my ministry. I'm doing this. I'm on duty. I'm on the team. It is God we are serving. So give Him your best. Stay focused. Thirdly, God has given you a spiritual gift. I talked about it a moment ago, the moment you surrendered your life to Him. So the Shape class, find out what it is. If you haven't, you see in the newsletter, we're running another one. Put your name down. We're going to get that done before the end of the year. We want to find out those of you who've done it, get that stuff back to us so that we can process that with you. Once you discover what your gift is, what you need to do, you need to fan it into flame. You need to fine-tune it. You need to make it the best you can. You need to sharpen it up. 2 Timothy 1:6. Fan into flame the gift you have been given. So when you discover it, it's kind of like a little ember. It's a little cold. You need to put some dry paper and straw on there and then fan, get a big fan like that one over there, and fan that into flame. That's what you need to do. So it bursts into flames. It's on fire for God. Proverbs 19 verse 8 in the Good News. Do yourself a favour and learn all you can. Then remember what you learned and you will what? Prosper. Proverbs 18:15 in the Living Bible. The intelligent man is always open to new ideas. In fact, he looks for them. Ecclesiastes 10:10, if the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success. Every core ministry of this church has regular seminars and meetings designed to sharpen up your skills that we might continue to bring excellence to ministry in the life of this church. In fact, we've got one this morning at 11:30. You're on the Encouragers team. Right here, we're doing a seminar, 11:30-ish. Don't leave, folk, come here. If you don't come to these seminars, you won't be on the team. That's all there is to it. You think about this, and so, well, someone said, well, I got some training somewhere else in another church. I don't really care. You see, if you play for Swans Football Club, you don't want to get your training down at Bulldogs ground. Even if the Prime Minister barracks for them. The training will be specific to the group that you belong to. It's always the way it is. Might all play football, but they've all got their own distinctives and specifics within the life of those teams. Fourthly, God has put us in teams for support, to support one another, for mutual encouragement and perspective. 1 Corinthians 3:13, the good news, the quality of each man's work will be seen when the day of Christ exposes it. There's a day coming, and the quality will be seen, whether it's excellent or not. And so in order to maintain quality and excellence, it's a wise thing not to be so opinionated that we resent having the perspective of designated others. I said designated others, but not everyone's